Well, the 2018 season has officially come to an end for the Rowdies, so we're here to talk about the 2018 season and, of course, look ahead to 2019. I'm Heather Donnelly, joined here by Rowdies head coach Neill Collins. And head coach Neill Collins, I'm still getting used to saying that. Are you still getting used to hearing that?
Yes, probably I am slightly. I think it's been a whirlwind for everyone at the club this season. I think there's been so many changes and circumstances have just not been what anyone expected, so I think now's a chance to settle down, and people always ask me am I enjoying the role. I've definitely not enjoyed some of the results and some of the circumstances, but yeah, I'm loving the role. I enjoy coming into work every day because I see the challenge ahead, and it's one that I think I can rise to, so definitely enjoying it.
Let's start out by talking about kind of the big news from last week. The Rowdies already making roster moves, announcing quite a few departures. What does that say about the future direction of this team and what you're trying to build here?
I think firstly, we pay thanks to the people that have all wore the jersey. They've all wore it with pride, and they've always certainly put in total effort. But I think after a season that we've had, and regardless of if we made the playoffs or not, I think changes needed to be made. I think we need to try and build a team with substance and longevity, and that meant roster changes. I think it's been something that's been not too uncommon the last couple of seasons, but it's certainly not something that I want to do. Next year and the following years, I think we need to try and get younger players that can be here for longer term, and then as I say, it was a hard day. It wasn't one I enjoyed, given bad news. But I think one thing I can assure the fans is that I gave it obviously a lot of thought, a lot of discussion with people at the club and the staff, and it would have been easy to not make some of those decisions. It would have been easy to shirk them and take the easy route and just keep certain people to avoid the criticism. But I'd rather try and make the hard decision now so that we can enjoy a successful year next year.
Yeah, this is your first off-season as a head coach, so you really get to take hold and build the type of team that you want to build. How will you approach that, and what types of players are you looking to bring in for next year?
I think we need a variety of players. I think we need players that can have all different strengths and strings to their bow, something that we've perhaps missed. I think another thing is younger. We've been very lucky in the past to have some really experienced and high quality players that have had fantastic careers. But I think we also need to add more mixture of younger players that have the potential to grow, young players that have the possibility and potential to go on to bigger and greater things and play at high level in Europe or in the MLS. So that's something that we want to nurture. And again, with any players, we want them to come here to win and come here to play for the Rowdies.
Let's now talk a little bit about last season. It's probably hard to kind of put into words, but if you can put it into words, how would you sum up the last 5 months since you were named head coach back in May?
Well, it's to sum up in one word would be tough. I would certainly say whirlwind, and also almost like a perfect storm at times. It was just, we went from one almost mishap to the next, some within our control and some certainly without our control. As a coach, you're always very loath to use excuses because I think people generally look at wins and losses and you're judged on that. I think anyone within the club could see that there was some horrendous circumstances, whether it be injuries, refereeing decisions. Then on top of that, we had our own inefficiencies, and I think that's where I've learnt a lot. And you can never say for sure, but I suspect that we'll have a better set of circumstances next year, which will help. And on top of that, we'll put hopefully things in place and prepare and put a lot of hard work in to make sure that we can deal with circumstances like that far better.
Do you have a favorite moment from 2018? Is there something that stands out to you as something that you'll always look back on and remember?
Yeah, I think from first of all, from a personal point of view, look, getting offered the job and then stepping out for the first night as a head coach was a memorable occasion. It was certainly a real crazy couple of days and really unexpected, but I think the backing of the fans was fantastic. So that will live long in the memory. And Georgia, I still getting the record goal, I think that's a part of history for this club. And regardless of that, just the person that Georgie is, to see him do that, I think it weighed heavy on him for a few weeks, and then when he got it, I think we were all pleased for him and proud of him. And that was again a small moment, but there was good moments. I think what was very frustrating for me, especially the last few weeks, is that we could have actually achieved our aim to get in the playoffs. We actually performed well enough. We didn't finish it off for a number of reasons, particularly putting the ball in the net at important times. But that's what makes me believe that we're on the right track. And while people might be wary of that, I've seen a lot of things behind the scenes to suggest that we are.
Well, you mentioned getting the job of head coach. You really got thrown into that very quickly. Not a lot of time to think about it, make the decision. Now that you're kind of a little bit removed from being a player, is there anything at all that you miss about being a player?
I probably miss the fact that when I go home, it's just completely switch off. Because when you're a player, you really only have yourself to think about. I used to always be a student of the game and think about it a lot, and that's why I think I was as prepared as possible to go into the job, because I always tried to think along the lines of what I would do. But I do think when you're actually in the hot seat, the multitude of things that you have to deal with is large, and especially when you add the extenuating circumstances that we had, like people like Marcel leaving, that was not something that anyone can prepare you for. But no, I mean, again, just being out there playing, I think the big thing I always said, and I really believe, is that playing at home was a huge thing for me. I loved playing here. I loved the stadium. I loved the fans. I loved the pitch. I do miss that, but again, I don't have any regrets about retiring. The challenge is a big one, but it's one that I'm really, really keen to take on, and it's one that I actually have a really belief in the people behind the scenes and myself that we're going to get it right.
Well, now let's talk a little bit about 2019. I know the season is still a ways away, but hey, there's no break. You're still here. It's the off season, working hard. What are the goals for 2019? Have you kind of formulated that yet?
I mean, the ultimate goal is to have a winning team. That's any coach is going to say that, and any ownership group wants their team to win. And obviously, the ultimate goal is the championship, which everyone's striving for, and I think everyone starts the season with that aim. I think right now the aim for me is to put things in place, not just for next year but for the longer term future. I want to try and build you can use any buzzword for it, whether it be culture, identity, philosophy. I just want to get in place a group of players that can go out and excite these fans and play a brand of soccer that they enjoy watching. I think that's a good starting point. On top of that, if we're playing that kind of brand of soccer, we'd expect to win some games. Ultimately, we all want to win, but I think we want to do it in a certain style, and then we take things from there. I think that's a good starting point, and I think if we can get a team that the fans are proud of and enjoy coming to watch, I think we build on from that.
All right, well, thank you, Coach, for taking some time to look back and look ahead with us here, and I hope you have a good off season.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.